that's what that is.
See how used they are to people. It's not even scattering or fucking nothing, man. That's gross.
I think that's a
Oh
mine.
shit!
I think that's a mine.
Find out.
Oh, fuck.
Nah, let's find out.
Bad.
Oh shit! No, let's find out. I need you to find this out.
You can. No, 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 no. I need
No,
you.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
no, no, no. Oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah! Well, if nobody else is gonna do it,
Oh my god, is that a fourth one? Jesus, help!
Let me smoke while it's
Fuck!
happens.
Fourth one, Jesus, help!
We did it!
Mama, what now? Jesus, help!
Oh,
We did it!
oh, she's getting fucked by it.
Jesus, help! We did it!
Oh, she's getting fucked by it.
Jesus, help! We did it!
Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing today? We are going to be doing ourselves a little bit of a tier list. And this tier list is going to be on Resident Evil bosses. What I think they are. No particular order am I going to do this. I'm just going to start from the first one I have selected here. And the first one I see is the alligator from Resident Evil 2. And they're kind of the same boss in the original or in the remake, so it doesn't really matter which one you really put these guys in. I think they're pretty much the same boss. It's a little bit more cinematic in the remake. I think that makes it probably maybe a little bit better. Is that you have that little chase scene with it, but it is both just a gimmick fight of shoot this, press this at the right time, and you will win the boss. Pretty cool design of the boss and stuff too, but I absolutely think this is just a C tier boss, mid level boss, not terrible, not great, just a pretty good boss. Not anything super special at all. Then we have Chief Mendez. We have Chief Mendez after that. Chief Mendez, I would say, is more on the side of he in the he's always menacingly kind of stalking you throughout either version of the game. The build up to his boss fight's really good because you have to continue. Like you see Leon getting his ass kicked by this guy for most of the game for the first like couple hours of the game. So let's put Mr. We're gonna probably put Mr. Mendez here at A tier. I think just from the lead up to his boss fight is amazing, and then the boss fight itself is really fun with the two different phases of the fight. The well, it's the two different phases. You blow him up, and then his body separates into that centipede looking creature right there in the center of his body, and the boss fight is really fun. It can be pretty annoying sometimes in that boss fight. That's why it's not an S tier for me. I think it's an A tier fight because I think there's some of the mechanics during the boss fight make it kind of hard for a first time player to even understand where you need to move and stuff to actually fight him. But I think it's an A tier fight. I think it's pretty good. I think Gravedigger, if you've played the original Resident Evil 3, the original Gravedigger fight, the only Gravedigger fight, you don't get it in the remake, which kind of sucks. I think it's actually somewhere pretty close to the alligator fight. I think it's a C tier boss as well. I don't think it's anything super special by any means. Um, is is it a absolutely amazing, awesome?
Shopping for your next car?
Oh,
What
crap.
about third row seats?
Hear that? Do I think it's particularly amazing by any means? No. I think it. The only thing that's great about it, again, is like the lead up of Sadler here. I mean, of Chief Mendez here, is that the ground keeps shaking as you're moving through the Raccoon City's back streets and downtown, and you're wondering the whole time like, what is causing all these little tremors and stuff. And you finally get the big reveal when you fall through the graveyard, uh, and then get introduced to Gravedigger. And one of the, it's very, very, very good cutscene and a pretty good transition in between Nemesis and another boss in this game. And I think that's kind of what the original, I mean, the remake's kind of missing. You're missing another threat in the city. And that Gravedigger kind of gave you a little bit of a break from Nemesis and gave you something a little bit new and a little bit different while you're fighting that boss. And I think it's pretty cool that they did that. And I think that's one reason that Resident Evil 3 original is better than the remake. And now this is Haas or Hayos. I don't know how to say his name actually. He is a boss from Chris's and Leon's. I know Chris's and Pierre's campaign in Uh, Resident Evil 6. I think really what makes this boss fight is all the cinematics and all the cutscenes are really cool. I don't think the boss fight itself is very good at all. The only thing that makes it good is the interactions between Piers and Chris during the fight. I don't think the actual fight itself is very fun. I think it's kind of I think it's just like, all right, move to the left, move to the right, make sure we climb up this ladder at the right time. We do enough damage to get to the next section, and then you just use an overpowered weapon on Piers, which is just a mutation to defeat the boss. It's not overly impressive by any means, in my opinion. So
Shopping for your next car?
and what we got next is Mr. Krauser. Mr. Krauser, I'm going to put him at S tier. Krauser is an S tier boss fight by all means and all reality. I think Mr. Krauser is absolutely an S tier boss fight. And if you think I'm wrong, I'm not. Because Mr. Krauser, uh, the lead up to his boss fight, every cutscene that he's in, he absolutely steals the show, even from Leon, which is pretty impressive to do. The two different phase boss fight is amazing, where you're going through the little obstacle course he basically creates to test you as you running through the obstacle course to see if you're worthy even to fight. You get the first knife fight that you beat him at. It's even though it's not in the first game, it's a QTE sequence. It's still fun. The QTE sequence is still pretty fun, and then there's the remake version where you have to use the parry mechanic, which is just as fun. I think they both are really really fun boss fights. And then his second phase, whenever he mutates with the Las Plagas, is in the remake a hell of a lot harder in my opinion. I think it's way harder in the second version, in the remake version of the game. I think it's way way more difficult than the boss fight that we get in Resident Evil in the original Resident Evil 4, in my opinion. We got Marie. So Marie's a hard one to place from RE9 because she's pretty pivotal to um, Grace's story at the beginning. Is like showing how she can overcome just an absolutely menacing creature stalking her throughout the entire game. And I think she's not necessarily a fun boss by any means. I don't think she's a pretty good stalker enemy, but I don't even put her at the same level as Mr. X. What's up, Mr. Dez? How you doing, man? I don't even put her at the same level as like Nemesis. I don't put her at that level whatsoever. I think that she's probably a B tier in all of the bosses of Resident Evil, uh, in my opinion, because I don't really see her as her boss fights. Her one boss fight is literally you just walking around a room, turn levers, and I think, and that's fine and all. You know, you're just turning lights on, trying to get the main light on to shoot her again. Cool, that's fine, but it's really not. It's not as interactive as like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2, where you have to do puzzle. The puzzles I think are a lot more in depth in Resident Evil 2 than they are in RE9 for Grace compared to Leon and Claire. So I think that Marie's a B tier boss by far and wide. So then we have Mr. X from Resident Evil 2. Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 is absolutely S tier. He is the invention of the stalker enemy and is the perfection of a stalker enemy as well in Resident Evil. Mr. X, when you first encounter him in the remake, he throws the helicopter aside. You run past him, you thinking like, okay, now that I've got out of this room, he's not going to be following me anymore. But he is going to stalk you the entirety of the rest of the game. That man's footsteps will be in the memories of adults into their 50s whenever they hear footsteps above them in a hotel, in a room, just in a random house, or just at their own house. They are going to be thinking of Mr. X for years and years to come, and that is one of Capcom's greatest creations right there. Now, Capcom's next best stalker enemy
Shopping for your next car?
is Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 original, not Nemesis from Resident Evil 3 the remake, because this I just bought
Shopping for your next car?
Oh my god.
What about
I just bought RE2R. How do I get Mr. X not to appear at all in the game? You can't. Here but lurking-ish. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you, Britt. Good to see you, Britt. Good to see you. You can't. You can't get him to not appear. You can't. He's gonna show up no matter what. Just appreciate what you're about to play. You're about to play the
shopping for your next car?
Oh my god.
What about
dude? You just appreciate what you're about to play for real, because Resident Evil 2 remake is what started all of the Resident Evil remakes and all the modern Resident Evil remakes, and RE9 wouldn't be as good as it was without Resident Evil 2 by any means. And it's good that that same team is the same team that's making Code
shopping
Veronica.
For your next car? What about third?
That's really starting to annoy me. But yeah, definitely enjoy Resident Evil 2 remake. But back on on Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis actually was kind of the first stalker enemy that
shopping
would
for your next car?
chase you around.
What about third row seats?
That would chase you around the actual city, because the original Mr. X would just show up in a room in the original Resident Evil 2. You'd either decide to fight him or leave, and then if you left, he wouldn't follow you like he did. Like Nemesis actually would chase you from room to room in the RPD at the fastest speed you could fucking possibly imagine, and he'd be right on your ass. And it is some of the most terrifying runaways I've ever had in a Resident Evil game is from Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And his different phases are better in the original than the remake. His boss fights are way harder than the remakes as well. Even on easy mode, they're harder than they are in the remake. The sequence to use the railgun at the end is a lot more fun to me than the remake, and Nemesis in every way in the remake, in the original, is better than the Nemesis in the remake by and far. But Here is Nemesis from the remake. Nemesis in the remake is a B tier boss by far. Nemesis is a B tier boss. The reason Nemesis is a B tier boss is because of everything I just said about the original. Now, what is good about the remake boss? The remake boss, his mechanics are probably a little bit better. His design's not really that much better at all, actually. It's different. It's I don't know why they just made him wear a trash bag instead of an actual suit. I don't really like the way they did that with Mr. Nemesis. It's like, yeah, well, you had a really cool costume in the original, but we're just gonna put you a glad trash bag on you, and then we're gonna let you continue throughout that game. I just didn't understand the changing of his actual fit in the comparison to the original at all. Um, his boss fights are fun. They are not as good as the original by any means, but they are fun to do. They are pretty telegraphed and easy to read on what he's going to do next. The original actually kind of changed up his attack patterns a little bit. But B tier boss. Still pretty fun. Still pretty fun. Plant 42 D. It's a D tier. Plant 42 from Resident Evil 1 is definitely a D tier boss by and far. It's a gimmick fight. You just get the V Jolt, burn them away. The design's pretty cool though, especially in the remake. When you actually go in that room and you see all the vines growing out of the walls, and it's spewing acid everywhere, and the animations in there are very very good, even for a game in 2002. I do recommend to go in the room before you actually kill it with the V Jolt, so that you can actually get a good sense of what the boss looks like, and actually how much design they actually put into that boss in the remake. Definitely go in there and look. But the actual boss fight itself is nothing, because it's just a V Jolt. I mean, actually, you know what? We'll put him at C. We'll put him at C. Just from the atmosphere and just how cool it is, I would definitely do that. Mr. Albert Wesker from Resident Evil 5. He is an S tier boss by and far. 7 minutes. 7 minutes is all I have to talk about Mr. Wesker. Mr. Wesker is his boss fights, even with Jill. Even the one with Jill is really, really fun. I think that one's actually kind of lower on my list of the boss fights you get with him, because the one when you're in the open area with rockets and he's catching the rockets every time and you're having to suplex him and everything with Chris, and that's absolutely so much fun. You're holding him down, trying to stab him with the cure, with the vaccine. It's really really fun. And then when he gets in, even when he's on the plane, you have to do all the QTEs on the plane, not to die, is really fun. His voice lines are will and far be remembered for the rest of time. 7 minutes is all I have time to play with you. The way he says Chris, I can never replicate it myself. Albert Wesker is absolutely the greatest antagonist of all of Resident Evil by and far. There is no antagonist that is better than Albert Wesker in Resident Evil. And actually, when he died in Resident Evil 5, he is the biggest piece that is missing from Resident Evil right now, is because Resident Evil has an antagonist of like Umbrella and the Connections or whatever the fuck. Who cares? I know there's an overarching enemy that's in the background that you never actually see, that's called the Connections, but this man right here is what's missing from the Resident Evil franchise, is Mr. Albert Wesker by and far. And we miss you, sir. We have the Tyrant. We have Mr. X from RE9. He's an A tier. He is an A tier boss fight by far. You don't. The only reason he's an A tier is because you don't see him for very long. I mean, I enjoy the callback to Resident Evil 2, the same walk that we made. We get to walk through the RPD, but I actually do wish he chased you around the RPD for a little bit longer, like a 10 or like you can make it like a 10 or 15 minute little section right there of him just chasing you around and you having to get away from him again, and using your parry mechanic now that you can to be able to get away from him. I think they wasted an opportunity a little bit there of a true callback of him chasing you around the RPD. And that's the only thing I think that's missing. I think the boss fight's absolutely awesome. He is as intimidating, absolutely overwhelming as he was in the original RE2 and the remake of RE2, and he's definitely an A tier boss in my opinion. Lord Saddler from RE4. He's B tier, definitely a B tier boss. I think Lord Saddler is one of the most anticlimactic bosses or antagonists in a Resident Evil game. I just do not like his character very much. I never have. I think he's very, very boring. I don't think he has very much substance to him whatsoever. I think Lord Sadler is absolutely just a B tier. Like he's a good placeholder as an antagonist in a series, but I think Chief Mendez had way more aura and was way more intimidating than Lord Sadler ever was. Even whenever he transforms into his four-legged uh, G ripoff mutated form here. I just don't think he's nearly as intimidating in RE4 and original and RE4 the remake. I've just never thought he was anything that special. Salazar, I think Salazar is hilarious. I think his boss fight in the original is kind of gimmicky. It's not super hard by any means. The new one, I'm gonna put I'll put him at A tier. I'll put him at A tier because there is a way to make it very, very remedial. You know, with the golden chicken eggs, makes it very, very easy to do. If you get two of them and hit him with it, he dies immediately in a normal mode. I think it's three when it's on professional. But um, but if you actually have to go in there and fight him, that is one of the hardest fights in all of Resident Evil. Like in of any enemy I've ever faced. If you go in there without the chicken eggs and fight him, he is absolutely a fucking menace to fight, guys. Like he is absolutely a menace to fight, and I think he's definitely an A tier boss. He would be S tier if his move set was a little bit easier to dodge and stuff. If you could actually fight the boss fight without having the chicken eggs, like, and it be so where you could actually avoid a lot of his attacks pretty easily, not necessarily easily, but is a little bit more telegraphed so you could get out of the way. I think Salazar would be definitely an S tier fight. Simmons is D. I think Simmons is a D tier fight. uh I just do not enjoy the boss fights of against Simmons whatsoever. I think Simmons is. Thank you for the likes, Jair. I think Simmons boss fight is. It takes 7 months to beat this motherfucker. Simmons again lacks a lot of substance as a person, as just as an antagonist. In my opinion, I don't think he's very interesting at all. I think he's just right.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. When the blazing sun is gone, when the nothing shines upon.
You okay, Mama Bear? What's up, Black Commonwealth? You haven't been in here in a while, my man. I hope you're having a great weekend too, Jair. I hope you are too. Oh, good. As I was saying with Simmons, just he has like 16 different phases. They're all they're all a little bit fun to fight, but he's very telegraphed, very easy to fight. I just don't think I don't think he's anything special whatsoever. I've never enjoyed fighting Simmons. I think he actually ruins Leon's campaign in RE6 a little bit. I think Leon's campaign ruins itself at the beginning sometimes, though, because of how slow it moves. There's a lot of things that are fun in RE6. Playing with another friend is fun in RE6, but he's just one example of just what makes the game not a Resident Evil game. We're gonna do the G from Resident Evil 2 Remake. That is an A tier boss. That is an absolute A tier boss. Um, the G or William Birkin from Resident Evil 2 Remake is absolutely an A tier boss. 3 different interactions against Mr. G right there, Mr. William Birkin. The first is, I would say the first fight is probably an A, almost probably a low a high B tier of a fight. Uh, Fighting against the G in his second phase. When is just a little bit of a gimmick fight where you're just trying to get the crane to knock him off. I would say it's a B tier or a high B tier fight, mid B or a high B tier fight, and then the final fight when he's in his third form. Well, actually, the second to maybe the third. The second, though actually there is a fourth phase too that you just have to do that in the second run of the game, which that one's like a B. It's not super high, but his third iteration is actually probably like an S tier fight because of how much because how the arena is perfect to fight him in. You have enough resources around you. You give perfect opportunities to shoot him from the back. But if you don't do these things, don't do the correct things to get around him, his attacks are absolutely devastating. He can 2-hit you, or he can 1-hit you on hardcore. So everything about his fight is fair. It's just you have to be very, very calculated against him, and I think he's definitely a tier boss. The Tyrant from Resident Evil 1 is I'm going to say an A tier just because of how absolutely intimidating this boss was the first time you ever fought it. This is the first thing you fight in a Resident Evil game that is absolutely unstoppable by anything that you have in your normal inventory. You cannot beat this thing by any means of what you have in your pocket. The boss fight in the laboratory is probably like a B tier because just how annoying and how little bit of space you have to fight it. But upstairs against him is a high A tier fight. Whenever it's you versus him and it's with you and Barry in the remake, and you're having to shoot it. Every time it starts to move towards Barry and is about to kill him, and then he runs towards you and absolutely. Guys, I to this day still don't really understand how to dodge his swipe attack upstairs. And I've beat that game like 15 times. And I still really don't understand how to avoid that man. He's pretty annoying. We got Yawn from Resident Evil 1 as D tier. I want Yawn is a D tier because basically in his name. You don't remember Yawn until you go down that hallway. You remember the Tyrant. And you remember Plant 42. Before you don't remember this guy, in my opinion. You don't remember Yawn until you go down that hallway and you have to go fight him. You don't, in my opinion. And I think Yawn is, he's really, really telegraphed himself. The boss fights literally just run around the room. Run around a circle, stay on his tail, and shoot him. What's up? Hi, Olivia. Bye, Olivia. Stay on his tail. Get out of there. I mean, that's all it is. That's all it is. Yawn is a pretty cool design. Pretty cool design of a boss fight. Snakes are generally not very done that well in Resident Evil. And he's just another example of not very good. Victor Gideon. I'm gonna say B. I think he's even. I think he may be even lower than Nemesis. I think he is just a copy and paste of Nemesis. That's all he is. He's a copy and paste of Nemesis with a little bit more intelligence. I think he as a boss, as an antagonist, that's what's keeping him up there. Actually, is because as an antagonist, he's really cool. I actually like the way his voice actor. His performance with Victor Gideon's absolutely amazing through the whole thing. But as a boss fight, I think he's a B tier boss because he's just a copy of Nemesis, and he's not really that special whatsoever. And parrying him is pretty fun, but I think Victor's just a copy and paste in my opinion. Yeah, Ada Wong from RE6 or the fake Ada Wong from RE6. I think she's an F tier. I think this was. I don't think her boss fight's all that fun. It's just. It's like a God of War. Stand back, wait for the attack, shoot. It's just. I think it's a pretty lazy boss fight. I think she's a pretty lazy boss in every way possible. Actually, we're gonna make a copy of Ada Wong because Simmons wanted to copy her for some sick ass nasty fucking reason probably. Um, then her boss fight is just a giant monster very far away that's gonna slam a tentacle down. You move to the left, you shoot it. It slams another tentacle down. You move to the left, shoot it again. Just not very fun. It's just it's nothing special whatsoever in my opinion. Alexia from Resident Evil Code Veronica. That is an A tier fight. And we'll put it up there. Actually on S. We're gonna put her up there on S tier. S tier. S tier boss right here. Alexia is one of the most fair boss fights in all of Resident Evil. You can kill her super fast. You can kill her with like 6 swipes of a knife. But if she touches you, you die. Basically, if she touches you, you're dead. She's instantly killing you. And like so, she's fair in the fact that she's a glass cannon. But she touches you, you're absolutely dead. Her 3 different phases are really cool too, and I really do and love enjoy fighting against Alexia in Code Veronica. The Chainsaw Sisters in Resident Evil 4, we'll put them at C. I think they're just more annoying than anything. They're also forgettable. They are better than these guys because you get the parry mechanic with them. They have kind of a mob attack as well. There's like 10 other zombies with them that are attacking you. Kind of a little bit annoying. That's why that kind of keeps them from being up higher. Actually, if it was actually just those 2 versus you, I think they'd probably be a B tier. Because the fight would just be fun then, trying to manipulate the 2, trying to get out of the way of the 2. But when you have like 8, 9 other zombies around at the same time, it's just not as fun to me. I think I think those 2 could have held their own by themselves. I don't think they needed a gang of zombies with each other. El Drago, I think it's a B tier fight. This is the giant fish in Resident Evil 4. I think it's just a fun little. It's basically just a mini game of throwing the spear at the fish while it's dragging you around on the boat. I think it's just a fun fight. I think it's kind of a non-serious moment in the middle of the game in a very serious game, and I like that. I think it kind of relaxes you a little bit because you realize how easy it is while you do it, and I think it's a really good boss fight. I think it's a good transition from all the other kind of action in the game. I really like that. El Gigante. I want to say A. I want to say El Gigante is an A tier fight because it's fair. Uh, if he hits you, you're probably gonna die, and you have to be very strategic around him. He moves very slowly. You can get out of his attacks very easily. You have to attack him enough to be able to expose his weak point, then use his weak point, and then you have to manage your knife the whole time to make sure that you don't break it. And well, unless it's in the remake, I mean the original, then you just use a QTE to attack it, and you don't have to manage your knife durability. But I think it's definitely an A tier fight. I really like it. Executioner from Resident Evil 5, C tier. Yeah, definitely a C tier. The last boss right there is one that's already up there. I don't know why it's there. The C is definitely a C tier boss. Executioner. It's a good introductory boss to Resident Evil 5. It's good to get your mechanics down in that area because like the first thing you fight in this game is a boss in Resident Evil 5, and it's him, and also a mob of zombies around him. So, and you learn quickly that this game is absolutely just about huge action-packed sequences instead of survival horror. You realize that this game is nothing like any of the others ever will be again, and yeah, that's it. That is I think he's definitely a C tier fight. I hope everybody enjoyed that little section right there. It's just something I kind of wanted to do for a long time there. I am going to end that right there. If anyone have any comments, anybody disagree on this tier list at all? If not, I will be posting this all on TikTok as well. But I am now gonna move on to ISHINN in Sekiro. Let me update my stream stuff.